Disturbing news that DOGE is now seeking to access the most sensitive taxpayer information in the IRS database has led to a brand new lawsuit by Democracy Forward to stop them. Welcome back to Democracy Docket. I'm Marc Elias.
And I'm Paige Moskowitz. Let's get started.
So, Paige, look, we have been tracking as DOGE goes from agency to agency and wreaks havoc, accessing sensitive information. We talked about the Treasury Department. We saw this at, USAID. But now, probably for many Americans, many people watching this, the thing they worry most, their greatest fear, is the weaponization of the IRS. And disturbing reports are coming in that DOGE is now trying to access those databases and access that data. And that has led to a lawsuit that's been filed by Democracy Forward, a great nonprofit legal outfit, on behalf of several clients to try to stop this.
The Washington Post first reported that a member of DOGE would be seeking access to what's called Integrated Data Retrieval System of the IRS. Now, this enables tax agency employees to access IRS accounts, which includes information like Social Security numbers, tax returns, addresses, employment records for millions and millions of Americans. And it also lets them enter and adjust transaction data and automatically generate notices, collection documents, and other records. In other news, it's a lot of personal information about basically every single person in the United States.
Yeah. And, for people who worry about the weaponization of government, they usually think about two agencies, right? Number one, they say, is the Department of Justice going to weaponize itself, right? Is it going to indict or investigate its political opponents? Well, we saw a story recently that suggests that's happening, and there were resignations from even more federal prosecutors over that. But the second thing that I think a lot of people worry about, and frankly, probably more of the people watching this video worry about, they figure like they're not going to get criminally investigated, but they worry about their tax information. They worry are they going to be audited? Are they going to be somehow targeted because of who they vote for? Are they going to be targeted because of, how they check the box on an IRS form in some way that maybe Elon Musk or Donald Trump doesn't like? And I'd love to be able to say that's impossible. And I still am here to say it's very unlikely. So I want people to have a sense of confidence in the system and not overreact. But I can't tell people it's impossible. I can't tell people it won't happen. I mean, this is, in many respects, if you want the most intimate portrait of someone's life, getting hold of their tax information, how much money they made, who paid them, what expenses did they have, what was their mortgage, how many children do they have, are they independent or not, are they dependents or not? I mean, this is stuff that people don't want falling into the hands of people who may be up to no good. And that's before you get to the question of what about just sheer incompetence? What about people who have no experience with these databases now accessing them? And so this is something that people are really worried about. But Paige, the good news is that once again, we are seeing lawyers and we are seeing legal organizations step forward to fight for what is right in this situation.
Right. Democracy Forward filed this lawsuit on behalf of nonprofits and unions, claiming that DOGE's access to IRS records would violate federal privacy and tax laws. Now, IDRS access is usually extremely limited. Taxpayers who have had their information wrongly disclosed are entitled to monetary damages. So there is a tight rein on who gets access to this kind of information. And as the lawsuit points out, it's not just personal concerns. It's not just concerns over people's personal tax information getting out. But if Elon Musk is a part of DOGE and DOGE has access to these records, Elon Musk could be accessing his business competitors' tax records, which would be a clear conflict of interest.
Yeah, and let's not forget how many corporate CEOs and corporations in America are right now bowing down to Donald Trump. How many of them are, frankly, settling frivolous lawsuits or otherwise finding ways to donate or put money in the pocket of people around him or foundations or nonprofits controlled by him, right? Like this is not for nothing, right? Like this is, I think some of these corporate CEOs might not be that thrilled that people associated with Donald Trump are looking to see where else they may donate. what charities they may have given to, what causes they may support. I mean, this is all bad. I mean, there's no good part of this. And the argument, Paige, the argument that they make that somehow this is to root out fraud is ridiculous. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, what some 22-year-old DOGE member is now going to access the database? What are they going to just start with the letter A and just like run through and say, looking for the line item? Or are they going to search for the word fraud? Like, I mean, this is insane that this is happening. Like so many things that are happening right now that are insane. But this is the Trump administration as it's going to be. And I've written for Democracy Docket now, Paige, for weeks, for months, that we are going to see political retribution. We're going to see the weaponization of government against their enemies. And I would be shocked if when all is said and done, we do not see the IRS weaponized against Donald Trump's enemies. Now, again, for those of you watching this video, that's probably not you. Like, I don't think they're likely going to go after individual taxpayers on a one-off basis. But do I think that they may be interested in knowing, all right, well, who are the CEOs who are supporting democracy? What companies are insisting on standing by their commitments to diversity? And are those tax records receiving different scrutiny? And maybe, people like a Liz Cheney, someone who is a prominent opponent of this administration, do they wind up in the crosshairs? That is at least a rational fear. That is at least something that we need to be worried about. And it's something that Democracy Docket covers almost every day in its free daily and weekly newsletters. If you're not already a subscriber, I'm putting the link above or in the show notes below. You ought to become one because you'll stay informed of what's going on in this lawsuit and many others like it.
Marc, and we've seen Elon Musk amplify posts on social media, on Twitter, that show a very clear misunderstanding of how federal records work and how the tax system works. So it would be no surprise if they do get access to these records and data, they would just spew out misinformation about how the tax system works. And Marc, I think we would be remiss to not say that, yes, the IRS is in need of reform. Our tax systems are outdated. The record systems itself of the IRS are outdated and need modernization. And the Biden administration appropriated billions of dollars in funds to make that happen. And part of that was to hire tens of thousands of new IRS agents to just bring up the workload of the IRS and make it more manageable. And the Trump administration has instead moved to lay off thousands of IRS workers while we're in the middle of tax season. Like, it's February, tax day is coming soon.
Yeah, and that's a wild point. I mean, that's like, not only are they laying these people off, but they're rummaging around in this database. And like you said, the tax deadlines are soon upon us. You would think that if you were dedicated to efficiency in government, and and you wanted an efficient IRS, you'd want to have as many people there working diligently to make sure that tax refunds are processed, tax returns are received, right? All of those things were happening because that would be really good government efficiency. And you would not be doing the kinds of things that you're seeing right now, as you point out, in the middle of tax season. But Paige, the other thing I think it's important for us to cover is, as I said, this seems to be a rolling governmental catastrophe. They start with one agency, and then we wake up another day and they're in another agency, and then they're in another one, and then they're in this department. And what comes out of this are these lawsuits. And the good news is a lot of these lawsuits are prevailing. I mean, a lot of these lawsuits are prevailing. But the other thing that is coming out of those lawsuits, Paige, are some pretty horrific stories. I mean, the stories of what is happening to the people who are victimized by the grants they didn't receive, by being stranded in a country, if that's their circumstance, or a university that is doing critical life-saving research into cancer or medical advancements, or websites being taken down by the federal government that people rely on. I mean, I read that they literally took down the website around the flu. I mean, the flu and the flu vaccine. I understand that there's a lot of crazy. I understand there's a lot of crazy about vaccines. I understand that crazy about vaccines is destructive for our society. But my God, if they now don't want there to be accurate information on the web so that millions of Americans in the middle of February can know about the flu and the flu vaccine, I mean, this is the kind of stuff that when you start to say, okay, well, now they're at the IRS. What if they take down the IRS's website about how to file your taxes? What if they, somehow, either intentionally or unintentionally, mess with a form because the form, mentions, a word like woman or something that they have banned. And now all of a sudden we're in that crisis. So watching this go from agency to agency, I think may be part of their strategy, but it is truly, truly damaging to us as a country.
Right. We've talked about this before. The point is chaos. The point is to cause chaos, and chaos causes real harm. We've talked about the USAID workers stranded in different countries. They were cut off from their communications and their funds to be able to get back home. We've seen reports about Meals on Wheels not being able to get the funding they need. All of this is being done in the name of government efficiency, but it's not efficient to just, core and gut out the government, see what shell is left, and then fill it back in. That's not how you run an efficient operation.
That's right. And so, look, Democracy Docket is tracking all of the critical lawsuits that you need to know about. And we on this video series have been trying to bring you explainers as they're filed, as decisions come in. And so that is part of our commitment to you, is to help keep all of you informed about what is happening to democracy in court. What you can do in return is to sign up at Democracy Docket to get its free daily and weekly newsletters. Number one, it helps make sure that people stay informed, and an informed society is important. But it also helps Democracy Docket because we want to have as much reach as we possibly can, and so the 17-member team who puts together this content every day on its free website and in its free newsletters, and for paying members in its premium content, count on people like you staying informed. So please take a second, click on the link above or in the show notes below. We'll see you next time.